And I think one of the things that I think is very important is, as I said, so an ecosystem is effective when people are really starting to work together on a certain problem. And I think that what makes an ecosystem effective is if you have a driving force that brings people together in settings like this. Because I think if you don't have this driving force, then people will, they tend to focus, let's say, on their day-to-day priorities, and they may not be able to spend the time or spare the brain power to actually look at these common solutions. So you need something that gets the innovation network going. And in the EcoShape and DigiShape program, we call that the framework program. So that's, let's say, over the individual projects. We have, let's say, this framework program that looks at the longer development lines and that organizes the interaction along with that. And I think that's very important. Without such an integrating force, that actually takes, it requires resources. So if you don't have resources to organize that, I don't think the ecosystem will be effective. Well, I think the main thing is that that you design whatever interaction you are going to design in such a manner that it inspires people to work together and share ideas. So in that sense, you do need resources to make this happen. But just so that I'm clear, it doesn't mean that if you have resources that it will happen. And so it really requires, let's say, the organizers to recognize which are the topics that, let's say, bring up the energy and get people to work together, and that are also pre-competitive enough to prevent people from, let's say, keeping the cards close to their chest. And so it's quite a tightrope that you need to walk to find exactly the sweet spot where people like to work together, but don't worry too much about, let's say, sharing competitive information. And then, of course, you need the resources to free up the time so that people can actually work together, and that you can actually maybe sort of note down the lessons learned, so that you, from meeting to meeting, you build upon something. And so that is what is very important. Yeah, I guess it's a matter of probably of good communications. So being able to answer or ask the right questions, so that you can figure out from different participants what their concerns are, and then finding, let's say, a way to match those together so that you can create these win-win situations. And I typically find that you will find, let's say, room for these kind of interactions on sort of the interface between practical problems and new innovative technical solutions. And so there's always this win-win situation that is waiting to be explored. And so you will always have, let's say, a practical problem owner that has to deal with a certain challenge, but he doesn't quite know how to do it. And then hopefully you will have specialists or innovators that have certain ideas that they think might be applicable, but they don't quite know where to apply it. And if you can bring those together and then get them in a setting where they can find how they can help each other to get a win-win situation, and then you get the ball rolling.